Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really pleased to have with me once again Corwin Coe. He is the CEO of Sitka Gold Corp., also a member of the board of directors. And I should mention before we say hello to Corwin that the company trades in Canada under the symbol SIG. You can buy it down here in the U.S., as I have, under the symbol SITKF. Only 48.5 million shares outstanding, and I see the stock is performing very nicely today. It's up about 25% today, actually. It's up to about 19 cents in U.S. money. But, don't let that scare you. Up 25%, it's still a market cap of under $10 million or about $10 million in U.S. money. So it's a very low-cap stock still. As I say, one of my favorites, which is why I'm really glad to say hello to Corwin. Thanks for joining me today, Corwin.
Oh, hi, Jay. Very welcome.
Now, I know you prefer being called Cor, so I'll call you Cor now. But it's Corwin is your official name. So Cor, you're up there in the Yukon now, and in Dawson City, I understand, talking to me, right?
That's correct, exactly.
This is one of the wonderful things about radio. We're talking to our next guest in France, and we just talked to a fellow from Ohio, and now you up there in the Yukon. So you have three projects. All three of them offer, I think, excellent speculative upside for investors. But judging from my discussion with you in the past, I think your favorite is the Yukon project, which you did put out some news this morning about some high-grade samples, surface samples, a number of them, actually. That's the RC Gold project. It's up in the Yukon. Talk to us about what you have going on up there. I see a 27.8 gram per ton was the high resource. I mean, the high sample that was, I guess, a rock sample or a surface sample of some kind. What can you tell us about what's going on up there in the RC Gold project now?
Okay, Jay. Well, first of all, it's a district-sized land package. It's over 345 square kilometers, like 85,000 acres. And we're just kind of scratching the surface here on our targets. We're processing a lot of historical data. For example, there's over 20,000 soil samples that have been taken on that huge district scale property and very limited drilling. So we've got a lot of work to do, but right now this program this summer was designed to investigate some of our priority targets, and so we've just completed 1,500 meters of diamond drilling. That's about 5,000 feet. In 6 drill holes. And one of these drill holes, from our visual interpretation of the surface sampling, we went ahead and put a drill hole underneath this zone, and it's in the lab for assay with the other 5 holes. So we're pretty excited with our first pass on the property here for drilling. And with that, we've also completed about 500 soil samples and some trenching. And we're planning on doing some LIDAR here in the next week or two, which is basically going to give us some structural information, which is critical for identifying these intrusion-related gold systems. They're controlled by these structures. So that's kind of what we're doing up there right now. We do have another drill going on a property called the Ogie property. In the next couple of weeks as well to test a silver-zinc anomaly there. It's never been drilled. So that's kind of where our focus is right now. And it is a company standalone project, but it's 100% Sitka. And I would say that our flagship property in Burrow Creek down in Arizona is, again, another standalone project which Sitka has. So it's kind of an envious spot to be in for Sitka, where we've got 3 good gold assets, and we've drilled 2 of them this year already.
Right, and before we get to Burrow Creek, I'd just like to ask you, you mentioned you've drilled 6 drill holes. They're in the lab for assay. I think, if I understood you, one of those 6 were drilled. Was it drilled under those high-grade assays surface assays that were released today?
That's correct. We tried to tried to explain that in our news release, and yes, it was drilled where the projection at depth would be this zone of mineralization. So we were successful in targeting that and drilling that hole.
Any idea when we might get your drill results back from the Yukon?
Well, the first hole went in on August the 14th, and I was told about a month for that. But then the labs started getting piled up with a lot of rock coming in, and we were told a month and a half for the next batch that went in, which was at the end of August. So we're looking between anywhere from 2 weeks for the first batch to a month and a half for these 6 drill holes. So it's going to be over the next 2 months that these assays trickle in, and we have the ability to release them.
Good. We're looking forward to that. Well, I know that your Carlin style mineralization target, the Alpha project in Nevada. You put one deep hole down, and if I understand it properly, it might have headed off in a direction you didn't want it to go, or what can you tell us about that hole, and what did you learn from that? Because I think you weren't disappointed with what you saw, right? You were not disappointed.
No, we're not disappointed at all, but it was kind of frustrating because we were targeting and drilling a vertical hole, and it started to bend to where it was at 60 degrees, which is a dramatic bend, and we realized that we were not going to hit our target, Devil's Gate limestone formation. And so it's a 1,700-foot drill hole that did go through some interesting structure, but it did not hit our actual target that we were looking for. So we're in the middle of processing that data, and we'll be announcing our strategy there in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Dr. Quentin Henning about it, showed him the cross-section there of that hole, and he said, whoops, it went the wrong way. It should have gone the other way. Yeah, well, I mean, so really I guess... What's that?
We're good at bending the curve, but it's the wrong curve.
Yeah, it curved the wrong way, right? So I guess this is fairly typical in those rocks from what Dr. Henning tells me. It's fairly typical that sort of thing happens. But and so you expect to drill some more there at the Alpha Gold property this summer?
That's our plan, yeah. And actually, when I said that we were on our second drill program, it's actually the third. I didn't include Alpha in that. So we've done 10 drill holes at in Arizona at Burro Creek, and then one deep hole at Alpha Gold, and now these 6 holes up here in the Yukon.
Oh my goodness, Cor! I'm just looking at my screen right now, and you're up another 3 cents, a couple of cents. You're up to 22 cents now, and that's up 45% today. So somebody's starting to pay attention. I've been pounding the table for my subscribers, suggesting, because you have 3, I think, very, very attractive. I would suggest that the Carlin Trend one, the Nevada one, is probably the highest risk, highest reward. I don't know if it's the highest reward. It's a higher risk possibility, but if you hit it, could be big, no doubt about it. And then you have Burro Creek, which is the lowest risk, the most certain, probably the highest likely success, the highest likely project at this time. You could say highest probability for turning into a mine. But then we don't know about, because the Yukon, you're just really starting the work there, but it looks so promising as well. So I'm really glad to see people starting to pay attention to your story. You have just recently raised $2.5 million. You only have 56 million shares out, which is really, really great from my perspective as a shareholder. How far will that take you, and when do you expect you're going to have to raise some more money?
Yeah, that $2.5 million was raised over the last 4 months, and $1.2 million of it is allocated for the exploration we're doing right now in the Yukon. And then a portion of that will be used down in Arizona and Nevada from that raise, as well as for corporate overhead. So about raising additional capital, it's going to depend a lot on how much we need to raise and what the price is. And right now, what I'm seeing in the Yukon here, I would say our Yukon property is actually in a dead heat with our Arizona property when it comes to the risk-reward situation. So, we will be raising more money, and what I'm predicting is that we're going to have a major program up in the Yukon next year. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what happens with Burrow Creek. We want to step out and drill the next kilometer of that gold anomaly corridor this fall and this winter. Mm-hmm. And like you say, Alpha is kind of a wildcat.
Yeah.
And it could be very rewarding if we hit there, and if we don't, I don't think there's been a lot of value factored into the market.
Not at this stage. Not at this stage. I definitely feel that way, and I'm just really delighted to see people starting to pay attention. And of course, if the share price starts to see what I think I see there, it's going to be a lot easier to raise money and do it without being overly dilutive. So, anything else you'd like to add? We do have to go now, but if there's anything else you'd like to say in parting?
Well, the only thing, Jay, is that I just want the investors to not forget that we also have a 100% subsidiary corporation called Arctic Copper Corporation.
Oh, yes.
And we have a massive land package up in the Arctic, about 30 kilometers from Tidewater, that we've discovered a sedimentary hosted copper showing there that runs around 13% copper and about 2 ounces in silver. So we own that land position. It's about 50,000 hectares. Ooh. And we have no underlying royalties or payments or anything like that. And if copper has its day in the sun, Sitka Gold already has a very impressive asset there.
Boy, you sure do. And I would think that's something that some of the big boys might be interested in talking to you about as well. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that's just another bonus, potential bonus here. So thanks for reminding me of that. I almost forgot about that. That's really exciting. All right, well, we'll have to leave it go at that, Corwin. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to our listeners, and we'll look to keep up with you in the future, that's for sure.
Thank you, Jay.